What is metalcore? Does it even exist anymore? What was once called such is hardly what is now thought of when the term is heard.
Can you feel
The original definition, which is now called metallic hardcore, is not too dissimilar to groove metal. Though, obviously with more hardcore influence. Earth Crisis and Hatebreed are prime examples. It is peak workout music, something to get you pumped, in all meanings of the word. The theme of metallic hardcore is determination, perseverance, and self-empowerment, even in the face of failure and injustice. It is mostly a style from the late 90s and early 2000s. Some bands take some more influence from thrash metal and groove metal, like All Out War and Full Blown Chaos. Melodic Metalcore takes another approach to the sound. It adds in some clean vocals and takes some influence from melodic death metal bands like At the Gates and In Flames. The latter of the two even becoming metalcore themselves later in their career, to the chagrin of many fans. Melodic metalcore bands include All That Remains, Bullet for My Valentine, and Killswitch Engage. This genre is probably what you think of as metalcore. The theme of this style is still about determination and perseverance, except it's in relation to others, rather than the self, usually enduring through a struggling relationship or expressing devotion to a lost loved one. In the early 2000s, there was a lot of 80s nostalgia, and it shows, as a lot of melodic metalcore bands take inspiration from 80s metal. Trivium takes influence from thrash. Escape the Fate mixes in glam metal, of all things.
Take my place, but look inside. Try to find a place to hide. I lost my faith, but don't you cry. I got a hole inside and it's tearing.
and Unleash the Archers is inspired by power metal. The most famous band of this trend is obviously Avenged Sevenfold. The hard rock, thrash, and progressive metal influence in their sound has led many to compare the band to Metallica. Avenged Sevenfold had a clear, melodic metalcore sound on Waking the Fallen. They went in an alternative metal direction on their self-titled album. Come back to me, it's almost easy. And the album Nightmare was the last album that had any melodic metalcore in it.
In a way it seems there's no one to call when our thoughts are so numb and our feelings unsure. We all have emptiness inside, we all have answers to find, but you can't win this fight. For you and all mankind, I've lost my mind.
On Hail to the King and The Stage, they dropped the melodic metalcore sound entirely.
Death is riding into town with armor. They come to take all your rights. Hail to the king. Hail to the one. Who is the crown? Have peace to the cage as we perform here upon the stage.
There are quite a few melodic metalcore bands that take influence from prog metal, like Machine Head's later albums.
So pray to music, build a shrine, worship in these desperate times. Fill your heart with every note, cherish it and cast a float, 'cause God is in these clefts and told. Salvation is found alone, haunted by his melody. Music, it will set you free.
And The Agonist. Mathcore is a crazy genre which plays in strange time signatures and, to the uninitiated, just sounds like a mess. But unlike something like grindcore, it is not actually a mess. It's like experimental jazz. It takes great technicality to make music sound this awful. If you want to annoy someone who hates metal, this is a good genre to choose. Bands include Botch, and Converge. In all seriousness, though, I quite like the Dillinger Escape Plan. However, aside from the early material, they are not purely mathcore, but also blend in alternative metal, and even funk metal. I like how glitchy and chaotic it is, like a disc skipping.
Wash it down the drain, down the drain. Wash your smile down.
Thematically, mathcore is sort of the opposite of melodic metalcore. Mathcore is about an unstable and tumultuous relationship, whether with a partner, technology, or just modernity in general. Nu-Metalcore is a tricky one to define. It is a newer style, and I'm less familiar with it, but it seems to have replaced melodic metalcore as far as what people think of when they hear the term metalcore. Now, I'd like to stress that Nu-Metalcore is not just a mix of nu metal and metalcore. I've already established how I define nu metal in another video, so feel free to check that out if you haven't, if you wish. But a mix of nu metal and metalcore would sound something like this.
I'll never forget life you displayed. Don't do the parents that brought me this pain. From all those things you have done.
The bands I'm discussing here are quite a bit different. Nu-Metalcore takes influence from a bunch of contemporary styles, such as indie rock, electronicore, and R&B. There is probably a better way to describe it, but it is essentially and loosely 2010s pop music mixed with metalcore. Basically, it's what would give a metal elitist an aneurysm. Bands like Bring Me the Horizon,
Every scar will build my friend. The sticks and the stones that you used to throw have built me an empire, so don't even try.
Bad Omens,
I don't wanna know your secrets, 'cause I'll tell. It's hard enough being alone with myself.
and Issues are some examples of this newer wave of metalcore.
When it rains, it pours, and the pain is coming in waves. Stay surface. Love can't hold you down.
So I will drive. Slow me down. I'm burning out of control. So far from heaven now.
I would also say the new material from Falling in Reverse,
Oh no, they'll never let go. Something you said 10 years ago. They're canceling you. And they won't stop till everybody's zombified. They're bumping us with lies like it's formaldehyde. We're dead inside.
and Architects can be lumped into this sound.
We're afraid of the outcome. Don't cry to me, because the fiction that we're living in says I should pull the pin.
The melodic death influence is pretty much absent here. It still has the clean vocals and screaming, but also tends to include rapping and softer vocals.
I'm a sad boy, you know better. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep telling me I'm not okay. It's feeling like a hurricane in my brain. Dark clouds, hard times, bad weather. Please don't make this last forever.
The band Backwards best captures the full range of sound.
Matter of time before they summon the army in. I'm probably on the FBI's most wanted list. I'm probably gonna end up hung like an ornament. I'm on a life mission to abolish all the government.
Look around and tell me what you see, because it's coming down, are you listening? Stop and look, this is what I mean. Yeah, it's going down, it's going down. Struggle comes with the lesson. I can't be the only one questioning my heart and what the times will say about it.
Thematically, Nu-Metalcore is about being utterly wrecked by modernity, but persevering in spite of this. There are also heavier Nu-Metalcore bands that lean more into Mathcore and down-tempo deathcore, such as Vane. Or Slaughter to Prevail. I already covered deathcore a bit in my death metal video, but maybe I'll discuss it more in another. So in conclusion, that about sums up metalcore. Don't worry, I will touch upon degent and stuff like that in another video. I'm sure many may take issue with my assessment of Nu-Metalcore, but during my research, I was unable to find another name for the style. So if you disagree that bands like Bring Me the Horizon or Bad Omens are Nu-Metalcore, give another name for what you would call that style. Until next time, keep on persevering through our modern world.